Welcome back, and this, I guess, it's the 8th video for this course, and so far we have been able to touch some things, and I believe they are all good. They're all for good. Yes, we've done if-else statements, which are conditional statements, and with it you can give conditions. You can give, like, okay, if you can just put you can just give a condition that the program should follow, and if a user puts any input and it doesn't follow the condition, or it does follow the condition, the program does execute something. So in the previous, not directly previous, but in lessons back, we treated if-else statement, and I said there is an alternative for if-else statements, though this isn't really fully, like, can't substitute if-else statements like directly, but it does help a lot. And which statements am I talking about? I mean, with my notepad, I'm talking about the switch case statement. The switch case statement. Now, what is the switch case statement? Well, the switch case statement is just a statement that you give conditions. It's a conditional statement, and I will start by giving the general syntax of a switch case statement. Now, for a switch case statement to be done, okay, let me first of all do the general syntax for if-else statement, and then that of switch case statement, and then point out the difference. Now, for if-else statement, if we can vividly remember, that's how it goes. If, then we have our braces, then the condition comes here, condition. So if the condition is achieved, then do something like this, and else, if that condition isn't achieved, it should do another thing, right? Like do the other thing, something like that. And you can notice that I have some braces here. Now, those braces, if you give an if-else statement this way, it will still run. And if you have just one statement within the if or within the else, you don't need to put the brace. The brace now, it's usually very important if you have, like, if you have another statement, like do another thing, something like that. And now this here, as it is, will be called a block of statements, and it will be treated as one. The compiler will interpret this and then come to this, and I can leave this as it is, like just if and then nothing, like no brace, and it will still work since this is just a single statement. Now, this is for if-else statements. Now, to achieve the same thing using a switch case statement, we are going to do the general syntax for switch case statement, and we have switch. How do you even spell switch? All right, switch. Then you give the condition. You give the in this case, it's the variable, or let's just name it the condition. Oh, what's wrong with me? I'm just coming back from a Google event, and it's really good. Well, but nevertheless, we're still continuing. So we have switch, then the condition, and then we have a brace. Now, this by default has a brace because you can't have less than 2 statements within a switch case statement, so it has a brace. So we have case, then or let's say switch, and then what will be in the switch would be like the variable. Let me name it the variable, and then case, let's say condition 1, and it should do something. Now this might be looking a little bit gibberish to you, but don't worry, you still understand. You soon understand. And this is what it will do if case 1 is condition 1 is achieved. Now let me separate the keywords with this by using capital letters. Switch, something like this, and well, it's still looking good. Okay, now another case will be achieved if another case would be done if condition 2 is achieved. Do the other thing, something like that, and it's good. And if none of these conditions have been satisfied, if either condition 1 or 2 have been satisfied, have not been satisfied, then we have a default statement. Now this default means default. So now default means serves as the else, like in if else condition, in if else statements. Okay, so we have default do the, let me see, unexpected. Unexpected. Okay, so, and I even forgot one thing. Now if you leave a switch case statement this way, it's certainly going to, it will run, but you get an error that we call a runtime error. It will show you that the code has an error, but it does have an error because when it runs this condition, even if this is where it's supposed to stop, there's nothing here to stop it. There's nothing indicating it, telling it to stop. It's going to continue. It will come to the second statement, it will run, and even the default. So your program will be something messy. So how do you put something to stop? Now the keyword used to stop this is the break statement. So when you do the case condition, when it achieves the case 1, the condition 1, it should stop. And if condition 1 is not achieved, it will pass these first 2 lines and then come to the next line. So we do the break here, and there's no need of putting any break at the end of the default, because if it reaches default statement here, it means none of these ones have been achieved, and this is the last statement. And though some people usually put the break, but there's no need of any redundancy, right? So now this is the switch case statement, and this is the if else condition. And let's do an example with the switch case statement. Let's create a new project. Let's say it's a console application, and yes, C++. Let's say switch case statement. Okay, and next we finish. Now we come to the main file, and we don't need this, right? So we take it out. Okay, and I believe if I can zoom my screen to be better. Okay, this is better. Now to start the switch key statement, we must have, if you follow this, there's a variable, right? So we must have a variable that exists, and then we follow that variable. We might have different variables like int a, we might have int b, you know. But now what is left is for us to choose which variable we would want to use. Okay, so let's use a variable that has meaning, variable name that has meaning, because that's one of the conventions of declaring variables, right? The name should be something explanatory. So let's say the condition that a boy is supposed to drive when he is 20 years old. Okay, so let's say age, and someone's age is an integer. You can't have someone at, maybe you'd say he's at the age of maybe 19.729, you know, it's not possible. So let's say int age, and we leave it that way. We don't need to assign anything to it because we will accept variable your data from the user. Okay, so save. Okay, now we need to tell the user something before giving him the chance giving him or her the chance to input. Okay, so we're going to use a cout. So cout, let's tell the user what, please insert or enter your age. And let's move to the next line. Now you have been familiar, I have been using the end line statement to move to the next line. I'm going to show you another one, which is this. Now you can just end it here and you come and use this. Now this means next line. I believe this is something you have to learn, right? So see in what? Now we're going to see in the age of the person, right? So the first line means you've asked the user to input the age, and then you've given the user the second line, you've given the user the place to which he or she should input the age. Now the next one we're going to do here is to do our switch case statement, right? So we're going to start with switch and our brace. Now our bracket, and then the open and close brace. It's advisable that you open it and close. If you're using brace, you open and close it before putting anything in the center, or brackets too, because you might really forget and you start getting some errors that you would find it difficult to trace. Those compilers like CodeBlocks give you the chance just to like an autocomplete. When I put a brace, it does the two. You see, it does the two. So now we're going to start. So case, so it means in a case where let's say switch. Okay, now the integer, right, the variable is age. We don't need to put int again because the compiler already knows that this variable is an integer, so we just put the variable name. So case age. So in a case where the age is 15, the colon, now we should tell the user something, right? So let's say cout what, you are not eligible to drive, something like that, and we end. Then we put our break statement, and that's all for this one. Now in a case where the person's age is 20, we display something, right? So cout yes, you can drive. Like yes, you can drive, right, with an exclamation mark, and we put a break. Now what did the user inputs 12 isn't one of these conditions, right? So this way our default statement should come. So def default, and we say cout cout your age isn't like your age isn't even indicated. Okay, and we end it. No need of putting break, just like I said. And now we wait for the judgment. That's one thing I like with running programs. You can do your own coding, you write your codes, you think you're right. Now building is the judgment. If you build without errors, fine. Now let's build and see. Okay, Up to now we have there are no complaints. And wow, does it mean our codes are too heavy or what? Why is it not responding? Okay, it's done, and we have 0 errors, 0 warnings, and it took it 16 seconds to execute how many lines of code? 19 lines of code. Well, I don't know. So now we're done. Now let's try running and see. Please insert your age. I am 15 years old. You are not eligible to drive. Great. Now let's try, sorry, I'm building again. Let's try 20. Yes, you can drive. It's right. Okay, and it will be the same when we try for any other age, like 65 years. Your age isn't even indicated. Now this is how switch case statements are. It's really looking logical if you are seeing it for the first time, and I'll advise you to keep on practicing. Practice with more difficult conditions, more difficult cases, and use real life situations and do some practice, and I assure you, you will get it. If you have any question, just as usual, we have the comment box. We have where you can put the comments, and just tell us, and I'm sure we will be able to respond to your questions. And yes, I said in the beginning of this video, I said this can substitute if-else statements directly. Why is that? It looks like it can, right? But no, it cannot substitute it directly. It can just substitute it in cases where you have strict conditions, like just like I did 15, 20. But I can't say in a case where we have age is less than, where's my less than? Age is less than 15. It should do something. It should do this. Now let's see what will happen. When I say build, we are going to have an error, and this is the line. It says expecting primary expression before this token, and it's not going to work. Or if we use greater than sign, it's still not going to work. Okay, so if you want to do something like a result calculation application, maybe a grading system application, where you'd say, okay, if the grade is maybe less or equal to 40, it's an F, you know, it's or maybe less or equal to 40, it's an F. You can only use if-else statements, right? So that's like the restriction to switch case statements, but it's still good. You can find more useful applications to if-else statements. So thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.